cowboy is a real character.
He's a character?
It's your dad. He's a real character. He's a real character.
Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Brody.
Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Brody. He's a real character.
Hello there, friends. Trace amounts of science. It seemed like our last video that summarized the Adelaide saga did rather well, so I figured why not put another one out and redirect some people to, one of the stories that I hated the most in the moment, but looking back, it's like one of the funniest things that ever could have happened. It is, of course, the Has-Been-Beard saga, which under its original title is the PizzaHutBeard saga, but yeah, you'll see how things go there if you don't know already. So let me tell you a tale. PizzaHutBeard is, by its very creation, a masterclass in what not to do when writing a Neckbeard story. There's a certain balance that has to be struck between the venting and the storytelling. It could be said that the less is really known about an OP, the less try-hard an OP is, the more likable they end up becoming. Ideally, in a story, an OP is more like a pair of pants that one can wear through the setting and the experience. The farther one wanes into speaking about themselves in a story, the more likely they will come off as adversarial within their own story. The first entry of this story very much highlights this by the end of the first very concise post. We know very little about PizzaHutBeard, the star of this alleged dumpster fire. We know that they are not attractive, are autistic, and they're very forward with their desire to couple with our OP, who has become colloquially known as Has-Been-Beard. In that very short post, we learn an excessive amount about our OP. We learn that she's somewhat displeased with her physical appearance, she just got out of a relationship and is possibly vulnerable. She also comes off as rather self-conscious, describes her fit as mid, and she describes in passing how she ended up becoming aware of PizzaHutBeard. Overall, we become aware of much more about OP than we ever do of the alleged beard, which I guess is fine for an introductory post, But really, this super short post could have been condensed into an intro paragraph in very broad strokes. Hi, 2020 happened, just got out of a bad relationship, tried making friends in the quarantine and took what I could get. One of them was creepy and autistic and made my life hell through his endless flirtation. See? That was 3 run-on sentences, and we're already caught up with where the entire first entry ends. It's called trimming the fat, stupid. That's not to say a Reddit story has to follow a green text slapdash format, but sometimes it does help, though. If you're writing and you're getting caught up in your feelings, chances are you need to step away and reassess a little bit. Just some advice from me to you. It's your story, you tell it how you want, but yes, I am just giving you my view on it, both in the moment and with a year or so of hindsight. I should say a year or more. It's probably been many years, actually. So we move on to the next part, which is somehow not helping the situation. I question the positioning of these screenshots in the original read-through. We're greeted with a scrawling apology wall in the form of a screenshot. It's a rather limp and rubbery apology, to say the least, and it is so far out of context that we have literally no idea what is going on. And the only thing that we can kind of glean from this is that the setting for all of this will most likely be completely online, and that PizzaHutBeard is a bit of a spineless worm when it comes to rejection. As a general aside, use screenshots if you can, but sometimes they can be detrimental to your storytelling, especially if you don't, frame them properly, give us some context for what the fuck is going on. Oh, no time to get frustrated about all that again, though, since we are moving into the next part of our story proper. So the next part is really just somehow even more of a chaotic mess. I don't know. We get introduced to a new character, Radio Demon, and for all intents and purposes in this story, he's basically an emotional vent for the OP. Beyond that, What do we learn in this second part of the saga? Well, we learn that PizzaHutBeard can easily manipulate OP because he can do a passable impersonation of Angel Dust from Has-Been Hotel, which the OP says is a comfort for her. Then we learn that OP, PizzaHutBeard, a radio demon, all really like a cartoon. Obviously Has-Been Hotel. And they decide to stream together, and we get a glimpse into their sense of humor. It's generally quote-unquote adult humor, consisting of lewd jokes that PizzaHutBeard allegedly takes too far. It just seems to be him yes-anding the jokes improv style. Sounds like, I don't know, maybe he's bad at it or something. But I don't actually know. You know what would have been really useful to everybody here? Stream clips! And you would have got to plug your thing. You got any clips? Really would have helped us out a lot, you know? It might be more to rip into. But inevitably there would be some people from the channel that would like what they see, right? They'd be like, hey, they're trying to do a thing. It's not very good, but they're trying to do it. Anyway, before I forget, these streams that they were doing are supposed to ape Honeycast, which is just the creator and actors from the original Has-Been Hotel pilot just goofing around. Why do I bring this up? Just so now you have to live with the knowledge of how deep these people are into the Has-Been Hotel IP and its supplemental materials. If I have to know about it, so do you. Lives in my head forever now. Growing like a tumor. Sometimes you cut things off and hand them to your audience. Other times, OPs give you something that plants a seed of evil inside yourself. One day, I will grow very old and possibly I will have dementia. At least I hope. A terrifying thought is that, my last cognitive memory before the abyss takes me could very well be the memory of how into Has-Been Hotel these people were. And that's before it was even a proper TV show on Amazon. This was just after the pilot. I'm okay. Sorry. I started recalling this saga and staring into the void, dude. My brain went to some really weird places. So what else do we learn? Well, they built a strip club in Minecraft. Good old fun for the whole family. We get a scene where OP fake self-gratifies as a joke, which PizzaHutBeard carries on with, but he made it weird, I guess. Rules for thee and not for me comes to mind here, but whatever. We get into how PizzaHutBeard started changing the character of Angel Dust from Has-Been Hotel, which our OP took some chagrin with. We learn that our OP has her own Has-Been Hotel OC, and PizzaHutBeard keeps trying to change it for her, changing her from a bat bimbo, whatever the hell that means, into a good little girl, which, that is also something that I do not wish to understand. And for this part, that's about it. We get some mentions that PizzaHutBeard demands Discord calls with our OP all the time and pushes boundaries. And to be fair, he does seem a bit controlling, but I don't know if that's part of whatever's going on in this stream/Discord server. I'm getting real, will you RP with me, 3 vibes at this point. God, this thing is so rough. Even as a recap, I get that you have all commissioned art of your ponykin Tumblr personas or whatever, but is that really an important part of the story? As another general rule for writing Reddit stories, if you have to lay this much narrative pipe to get me engaged in your world, you're doing it wrong. If there's a hierarchy or something involved in your story, or special rules for like an RPG horror story, okay, go off with the narrative piping. But if the gist of it is just, we like to roleplay as these characters based on somebody else's intellectual property, well, you might just want to walk around those parts. You don't believe me? Go watch the original video compilation in the description after this and tell me what you think. I thank you very much. I guess let's get into part number 3, If you're confused as to what the story is currently, good! Welcome to my world. It only gets worse. We start with our OP LARPing as a flight attendant before getting into the actual stories. I only really just realized this now. Those little RP moments that the OP has before and after the story. No, don't you bring that evil into my house. I now feel soiled for having played into it, thinking back on it. Anyway, we get introduced to 2 new characters. Crystal's the group mom, although we'll never know why because she has no written dialogue or important actions in the story. But hey, at least we know about her now. Here's another person who exists. Let me tell you all about them. Oh wait, no, I'm wrong. She does serve a purpose because she's the one who roleplays Charlie from Has Been Hotel on stream. And you have to know that in order for the story to make sense. Not really, though, obviously. We also get Cowboy. He's a cool guy who also has no written lines, but he has a very funny mouse story. At least we were told that it is a story, and yes, it is funny. However, we never get to hear that funny story. I still don't know what the funny mouse story is. But yes, as we will find out, Cowboy is a real character.
He's a character? Oh, shit, it's your dad. He's a real character. He's a real character.
Bye, Mr. and Mrs. Brody.
He's a real character.
Bye, Mr. and
He's
Mrs.
a real
Brody.
character.
With all that out of the way, what do we actually learn in this part? Well, our OP has long Discord calls with PizzaHutBeard every night and endures his constant texting. She loses sleep over this and develops some anxiety and depression symptoms. Cowboy notices it, and they together trash talk PizzaHutBeard. The OP really should just go trash talk to his face and, be done with all of it, but spines do take some time to grow. We learn that Cowboy is a deep and caring soul who lets OP trauma dump about it. We also learn that he sometimes RPs as a 1930s German soldier, and yeah, that's funny. OP and Cowboy like dark humor. PizzaHutBeard also likes dark humor, but he takes it too far, you see? He said the N-word with the hard R. That's a bridge too far. No one thinks that's a cool thing. Not even the guy LARPing as a 1930s German soldier, occasionally. So what else do we learn in this part of the saga? Well, not much. There's a weird excerpt about an ERP between people, and they talk a bunch of shit that I can't possibly understand or care about. That's the major problem when it comes to this whole story, and why I love it as an example of what not to do when writing a Reddit story. If you posted this to r/hasbeenhotel, it might mean something. Maybe. I can't really possibly know, but you are requiring me to engage with your roleplay server vicariously, and I do not have the requisite knowledge to follow half of the shit that you're saying. Even if I really is getting more has-been vibes in here. God.
I'm not mad.
Even if I pretend to understand what the hell is going on as far as this has-been hotel stuff, it's still incoherent gibberish. I've asked legitimate has-been hotel fans, and they have no idea how to decode half the things that you said. Don't believe me? Have you watched the show? Go watch the video and tell me what the hell she's talking about. Anyway, okay. On to the final part of this nightmare. Mercifully, we are introduced to a new character. Last part, we're still introducing characters, Anyways, this new character's name is Vocals. She's like OP's partner. Whether that is online or in Meat Space, I really have no idea. We get more pre-story LARPing. Yay! I hate it here. Then we learn that Cowboy, Vocals, and OP do some very private roleplay together via voice text, if you get me. And the game is that they both try to fluster her. This results in them exchanging images of each other without clothes on. Yeah. I think Cowboy was also married, which really set this whole thing over the top for me. We get some line about polyamorous panic, I can't relate to that, okay? But I'll try and level off the gas here and just say, yes, I'm sure that was complex for you. I wish that you could have described it better in the story so I could even begin to understand it. Then PizzaHutBeard shows up and gets overly possessive with how OP carries on with other men. Then they have a private RP session, and OP doesn't like that RP and feels sick about it later. And then there's an earlier mention of PizzaHutBeard saying that he would take her without her consent. And maybe this is what that meant, which, in hindsight, I think I can now analyze a little bit. Was this like some sort of ERP server with some maybe Bravo Delta Sierra Mike mechanics to it? Did PizzaHutBeard own you on this server? Was he like your dom or something? Because that's really the vibe that I'm getting from all this. This is all just some big ERP polyamory simulator crap, right? You know you can still say no, right? You could just block the dude, never talk to him again. If he comes after you with his ults or something, I don't know, get a restraining order. Anyway, Vocals confronts PizzaHutBeard, and they have a back and forth where Vocals plays the savior to PizzaHutBeard's villain. PizzaHutBeard clearly doesn't understand that he is not OP's boyfriend. Vocals tells him that that's not the case, and she's gonna flirt with OP, and blah blah blah. I cannot understate how much of this is just fucking nothing. I'm completely serious. Go watch the videos. 80% of it is just me being confused and lost. Which I guess isn't that significant of a change. But it's hilarious looking back. The video is 167 minutes. And the actual content of the video, really, it doesn't even amount to more than like 10 minutes of actual condensed content, summarized content, coherent content. I kid you not. It's mostly just me losing my mind for most of the posts. And even in this recap of the story, I'm losing my mind about how abysmal it is. The funny thing, though, is that there is almost something there. If you were to have leaned in with the weird RP stuff from PizzaHutBeard and talked about that, yeah, that could have been some good cringe. Like the segment with him calling himself a big bad wolf and all that shit. That was hilarious to me. What a dweeb. Everybody knows wolves are for nerds. So to pad out the runtime a little bit here, I will now give my own long overdue summary / interpretation of what the hell I think the actual story was in this series of posts. I'll rewrite the entire thing very briefly to show you how you could have done it. My name's Chloe. During the great lockdowns of 2020, I got involved in an ERP adult server centering around the extremely popular Has-Been Hotel / Hell of a Boss franchise. Don't know what that is? It's a cartoon about people living in hell and their wacky, violent adult adventures. Since I was just out of a bad relationship and on the rebound, I was quick to begin getting close with someone that we'll call PizzaHutBeard. PizzaHutBeard was available. I was lonely, and I made the poor decision of getting involved with him in sort of an online relationship dynamic. In time, he grew too clingy and ignored my requests for him to tone it down a scooch. He would not relent and often played the pity card, ramping up his demands in the process, demanding that I be on Discord calls with him all the time, which, due to my own lack of a spine, I did acquiesce to. We carried on in this fashion, but I didn't want to be pinned to one internet relationship. I wanted more. As I grew my group of friends, we began to get closer, and PizzaHutBeard always had to be in the mix. He seemed incapable of giving me space or anything resembling it, and he often crossed the line, driving others away with racist tirades and making others uncomfortable. I think due to his incel curities and maybe touch of the tism, he was really unable to comprehend that I was trying, in my own way, to push him away without directly pushing him away. Eventually, I'd find some people who would stick around and stand up for me. I finally was finding my people and a little backbone with the support of some new friends that I made along the way. Eventually, my soon-to-be polyamory primary, Vocals, helped me to tell off PizzaHutBeard, and he finally was excised from my life, and now I'm happy. Or some approximation thereof. But Red, that's way too short of a story! Yeah, I wouldn't read it. I'll admit it's a bit concise, but I mean, it's at least a coherent narrative, right? Do you know what happened now? Maybe this could easily be filled out with the dialogue and some specifically cringy events and maybe clips from the aforementioned streams. They wanted you to know the streams existed, but they were too embarrassed to actually have you look them up. It's a mystery. Okay, so yeah, there you have a proper one-off Neckbeard story. I'll stick it in with a bunch of other ones. Send it to press, it's fine. Not everything has to be a fucking saga, you know? I know it's the hip thing to do, but really stories don't need to be episodic. Give me a good 5,000 word one-off any day of the week. Anyway, the original story, as it was written, is a testament of what not to do. It starts hyper-specific with has-been hotel nonsense, which the OP automatically assumes anybody aside from herself will be aware of. The relationship between PizzaHutBeard and OP is never really clearly defined. We know that the OP engaged in ERP with PizzaHutBeard. We know that PizzaHutBeard thinks there's a relationship going on, and based on the little info we have no reason to not believe that this is some clear miscommunication in the mix. Other characters are dropped in for no reason whatsoever. By the end of the story, we've gone full Mary Sue with our OP, who was originally not a fan of their appearance, but now emerging from the wallflower chrysalis to being beloved by all. And if you believe that, I got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd like to sell you. Anyway, I'm not an expert on literature or anything like that, but I do know what I like. Take this advice or don't take this advice. I don't really care. But do know this. Having a coherent narrative is really like the bare minimum to getting a good Reddit story out there. You have to focus on telling a coherent story. As Trey Parker and Matt Stone put it, something happens. And because of that, something else happens. And you just keep doing that until you have a story. I fell in with a clingy neckbeard, and because of that, my life became hell. Because my life was hell, I sought the help of others. Because of their support, I could be free of this beard. There you go. Outline. Now, fill it in with specific events, and how you felt, and what you saw, and other basic writing shit like that. Then you have something. Addressing the OP, yeah, I'm sure you do have some real trauma that you wanted to get out, and I'm sure whatever you were trying to say to me was meaningful in your own way. I don't doubt that everyone has a story to tell, but maybe next time reach out for some actual help. We have a Discord, we have a few people who might be willing to read a draft. Send it to a friend or something. Run it through AI, for God's sake. People freak out that I said that. Whatever trauma you have, I know I might have laughed over all of it, and to a certain extent, I might have been wrong about that. However, you must understand, I'm a YouTube funny man. If you give me a fucking lemon, I'm gonna squish it into lemonade, or whatever facsimile of lemonade I can. I guess moose piss in this case. I now have a headache because existence is pain. Original video link is in the description, because if I have to be in pain, well, so do you, of course. Tell me down in the comments what saga you'd like to see recapped next. Of course, support on the YouTube memberships or the Patreon if you're able to. Check out my merch over on Fourth Wall. I appreciate you. Sharing the video around would also be super helpful, either the original or the recap. I'm tracking those stats for real. But whatever you can do, whatever you decide to do with the rest of your day, I want you to know that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, friends, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.